let's get started with some news out of the entertainment industry. And it's something that we've touched on before, y'all. Drake, you know that brother. He's gone ahead and filed a lawsuit against his own record company, Universal Music Group, for Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. Attorneys for Drake say the song, which is aimed at the Canadian rapper, is an example of valuing, quote, corporate greed over the safety and well-being of its artists, end quote. Kendrick released Not Like Us last summer after a series of diss tracks exchanged between the two artists in the spring. On the song, Lamar calls Drake a pedophile and accuses him of appropriating black culture. Again, both artists are under Universal Music Group umbrella. Here's a portion of the claims in the suit written by Drake's attorney. They claim UMG, quote, approved, published, and launched a campaign to create a viral hit out of a rap track that was intended to convey the specific, unmistakable, and false factual allegation that Drake is a criminal pedophile, and to suggest that the public should resort to vigilante justice in response, end quote. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm torn. And I want to be very, very sensitive to this subject because I'm a product of the hip-hop genre and what have you. I grew up in Hollis, Queens, New York City, listening to Run DMC. They're from Hollis. Jam Master Jay, the late Jam Master Jay, God rest his soul, was great friends with my late brother Basil, God rest his soul. LL Cool J grew up 5 minutes down the block on Farmers Boulevard. You know, the Ja Rules, the 50 Cents of the world, and others from Queens. So for me, when I bring up hip-hop culture, my initial response, which hasn't changed that much, by the way, is go handle your business in that studio. See, Drake got sensitive with a lot of people when he went after DeMar DeRozan, talking about, you know what, he would not go for his jersey being hung in the rafters. You know, when he was put off by LeBron James dancing to Drake's music. And, you know, when DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook and these brothers were on stage while Kendrick Lamar was performing Not Like Us. They all from Compton, not LeBron, but they from L.A. That's not a crime. So in that regard, I thought Drake was tripping. I was of the mindset like, yo, handle it in the studio. He got you today. That don't mean he gonna get you next week. And if he got you, he got you. But if you got something better, something the eclipse Not Like Us, do that because Drake, you that great. You that special. What's the problem? Get in the studio and handle it like that. You don't handle it in a courtroom. That's not how you address contention in the hip-hop industry when it comes to actual records being made. That's not what you do. And I stand on that. I firmly believe that Drake should do one or two things. Stand down and say, he got me. Or stand up by going in the studio and making another diss track of your own and making sure it eclipses Not Like Us. One or the other. I firmly believe that. I'm not backing down or bowing down from that. But I'm going to tell y'all where Drake hits me. And my sensitive side, dare I say, comes into play. When you have to move your child and his mother out of elementary school, when he's being threatened in school, when the mother and the child have to move out of Toronto, according to the reports, that's what it says, for safety reasons. When you've been accused and people think there's validity, not just, you know, lyrical dissection, but literally they're attaching legitimacy to allegations and accusations of you being a pedophile. Then it gets a little dicey. Because UMG, I mean, Universal Music Group, both of them are under that umbrella. I'm not going to look at Universal Music Group and say, well, it was a crime for them trying to profit off of you. Hell yeah, they trying to profit off of you in any way they can, whether it's through your music or somebody else's music about you. The record company, of course, that's what they're going to do. Of course, that's what they're going to do. One could argue they should be a bit sensitive to one of their own artists. But in their mind, did it compromise your bottom line? They don't think so. Did it compromise Kendrick Lamar's bottom line since he's under their umbrella as well? Damn sure didn't. It big upped him. It's making him a boatload of money. That means it's going to make them a boatload of money. And their attitude is they probably were expecting you to come back with even more material to go at him with, and they could make money off of both of y'all. That's what they probably were thinking. That ain't what happened. So because that's not what happened, and when you consider the level of sensitivity that's been brought to the equation, because again, he was basically accused of being a pedophile, appropriating black culture, I don't want to hear all of that. That's a different subject for another day. But being called a pedophile, yeah, he's a dad. You in this universe is your own music. Is your own music company that's promoting this stuff. Okay, all right, I understand. I'm not as dogged against it as I once was, even though I still wouldn't do it. I understand where Drake's coming from. I just think that ultimately he's defeating the purpose, because in the end, you're a hip-hop artist who's going to want your music to be absorbed by the masses in the future, because you're far from a finished product, and there's going to be an abundance of people out there that look at this as a weak way to come at somebody like Kendrick Lamar, who came at you the way that he did. They want you to come back the same way or bow down to the fact that you got shook. That's how people are. I can see both sides of this. Before, I could only see the one side that just looked weak to be using the law to come after an artist that took it to you in the studio. But I get where you're coming from now. I do see it. I still wouldn't do it, but that's me. A lot of people I know, but I understand why Drake could feel differently about this. I do. Coming up, he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion who is arguably the greatest tight end in the history of the National Football League. Travis Kelce joins the show as the Chiefs attempt to become the first team in NFL history to three-peat. And he may have something to say about his love life as well. You know, that means Taylor Swift, right? Right? He might have something to say. He might not. I don't know. We're about to find out, though. Next, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Back with more in a minute.